parties has also listed 4 priority areas that will be their main concern in the conversations towards and after the 2022 general election. But as Ibrahim Karanja reports, there was a conspicuous absence of leaders from the Mount Kenya East region, despite assurances that more leaders were on the way to join the new formation.
As President Uhuru Kenyatta exits the political stage in less than 10 months and the curtains falling on his grip of the Mount Kenya region, calls to consolidate the region to form a united front have now gained momentum. NAK Kenya leader Martha Karua, Mwangi Kiunjuri of the Service Party, and Moses Kuria of Chama cha Kazi, who have for weeks now been leading the conversation, today converged in Naivasha, hoping to succeed in their quest. They were joined by former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo, veteran politician Kwegi Wamwere, together with other leaders, among them sitting and former members of parliament. Under the Mount Kenya Unity Forum banner, they picked Karua as their interim convener and listed 4 items they wanted addressed.
The priority issues being defending democracy and multi-partism. The other issue is security of the person and property. The third issue is the issue of representation. We want equity in representation. The fourth issue is equity in sharing of resources and development.
About democracy and multi-partism, they seemed to have taken lessons from the runnings of the ruling Jubilee Party. A section of politicians supporting Deputy President William Ruto has been urging all politicians to join UDA.
For a very long time, we fought the one-party dictatorship to bring back plural politics in Kenya. That is something we are committed to safeguard. We have seen in the history of our country that monolithic parties become oppressive.
They, however, did not comment on Moses Kuria's demand that the region must get 40% of all appointments in the cabinet, parastatals and other state agencies, as well as the position of deputy president.
Apart from coming together with unity of purpose, we remain individuals with the rights to express ourselves and our aspirations. But when we come together as the Mount Kenya Unity Forum, we express what we have all discussed together.
With the conspicuous absence of representation from the Mount Kenya East region, comprising of Meru, Tharaka Nithi and Embu counties, their success in this quest may seem foggy, especially considering the number of votes from the region vis-a-vis the demands they may ultimately make.
Whenever Mount Kenya meets, great things happen.
In the 2013 and 2017 general elections, Mount Kenya region wholesomely had 22.4% and 22.5% of the total votes respectively. Data from the IEBC shows that the votes were from Nyeri, Murang'a, Nyandarua, Kirinyaga and Kiambu counties. Also on their plate were votes from Meru, Tharaka Nithi and Embu counties, as well as Nakuru and Laikipia counties.
So this is beyond the presidential race. It is about permanent community of interest and permanent issues that need to be addressed.
We must continue to remain unapologetic about championing our interests, championing our region, and championing our unity.
They will also be required to unite a region that is largely perceived to be shifting towards Deputy President William Ruto, with another faction of leaders working hard to push it to ODM leader Raila Odinga's side. Ibrahim Karanja, KTN News.
All right, so much clamor on the mountain and other regions as well, but we'd like to begin our discussion on that particular note. The Mount Kenya Unity Forum, who have made headlines in today's dailies equally. On the front page of the Daily Nation, as I earlier hinted, it's all to do with the return of the Iron Lady, who has been chosen as the spokesperson of this particular Mount Kenya Unity Forum going forward. They highlighted 4 key priority areas that revolve around defending multi-partism, equity in representation, security of person and property, and also equity in sharing resources and development within the region. Those are some of the issues, according to these leaders, that stick out for the region in itself. And who better to talk to us about Mount Kenya than Senator Isaac Mwaura, who's in studio, nominated senator who was conspicuously missing from the photo ops. We'll get to put him to task, perhaps, if he was behind the scenes. As earlier hinted, we're equally joined by Godfrey Otsotsi, who is a nominated member of parliament. Thanks for your patience, sir. As well as our other guest who's joining us from our city center studios, Alex Manyasi, a governance expert. So let's begin on that particular note. Senator, good morning and thank you for your time.
Good morning.
I'd like just to review page 4 of the Daily Nation, even as the Standard also highlights this Mount Kenya Unity Forum. Something stuck out to me. Her choice as the leader of the group that largely brings together politicians viewed as rebelling against Ruto's apparent stronghold on the region seems symbolic. What's your reaction to such a statement as you highlight your reservations perhaps or your contribution in terms of support towards the Mount Kenya Unity Forum? Where do you sit on this?
I think Jesse, I want to say that first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show. And it's to say that there have been many talks with regards to the unity of Mount Kenya region. And certainly, it is the season of haggling to see, how people can remain relevant, in this whole issue. But actually, it's very interesting because as a leader, you move with the people. While the issues that may be raised could be legitimate, but the truth of the matter is that the people are with the Deputy President, William Ruto. I spent a whole day with him on Sunday, the day before yesterday, in Githunguri, in Kiambu constituencies, both constituencies there. We traversed there. And you can tell where the people are. And certainly, while there could be issues that need to be addressed, but I don't think such negotiation, because you see, the question that you would ask yourself, Jesse, who are they negotiating with? Who are they being sent to? When you say these are the issues we are giving to all of the presidential candidates, isn't it that some of the people in that forum have expressed presidential ambitions? So exactly who is negotiating with? You cannot negotiate with everyone. You cannot say that you are the gatekeeper to a whole region. Yet in actual sense, people have been making forays into the Mount Kenya region to see how much they can harvest. For example, the Deputy President is a clear favorite. We've also seen Raila Odinga being hosted at birthday parties. We've seen Musalia Mudavadi and being hosted. All of those, for example, have been hosted by Anne Waiguru, who is a competitor of Martha Karua. So I think personally, I do not see much coming from there, because it makes more of a statement, Jesse, if there was one person, there was a negotiation between Team A and Team B. But if you say we are putting this as our irreducible minimums to who comes, it could as well be Osorans, people who do not have any clout, who may be pretenders to the throne. So I don't see much happening thereafter.
Let me get your brief comment on one of these 4 priority areas, defending multi-partism. And there's been so much clamor, especially around the UDA party and these smaller other affiliate parties. Fold your parties, ship into UDA or ship out. That's been the narrative that's been put out there. Well, what's your take on the multi-partism effect, especially in Mount Kenya? Briefly, sir.
I think Jesse, the issue about the plethora of political parties that do exist is really a phenomenon of our Kenyan democracy. The last time I checked, there were 68 political parties that have been registered. So their very existence really, is not a question of conjecture. It is a fact, it's a reality. But if you look at what Professor Mkoa Nangwe has done in his study, we have a de facto 2-party state. You will have a coalition around Raila Odinga, I think. You will have another one around William Ruto. And in this case, definitely, they are dominant political parties, despite the fact that the other ones exist. So I don't think there's anybody who has been told to fold up their political party. It's their right to associate. In fact, it's one of the Bill of Rights, freedom of association. But you find that voters always have a preference on which political party they vote for. And that is not a question of the fact that some people have been told to fold up. Even in the last general election, much as Jubilee was the most dominant political party, you still had DP around, for example. You still had Chap Chap around, and independents. So people will make a choice, but I would want to reiterate that there will be one or two or so dominant political parties, especially those that the main presidential contenders will be running for the main office.
All right, that's proper. So I mean, unity talks are not new, especially to Western Kenya, even as we talk of unity of purpose, which this particular group is touting right now. Talk to us about unity. Is this all to do with ensuring their relevance from where you sit, or there's a bigger scheme at the end of the day? As they say, politics is all about strategy.
Well, the political events happening now in central Kenya is very interesting. Not just interesting to politicians in Mount Kenya, but the rest of the country. We are keenly watching to see what Mount Kenya is up to. And it's also interesting to see the spokesperson who's been elected by that forum is Martha Karua. That is very interesting because we know what Martha Karua stands for. We know Martha Karua is a strong political personality. We know Martha Karua does not support politics of tokenism, which has now become very prevalent in central Kenya. So it is very interesting to watch. And what I can say, which I know my friend Mwaura may not be happy about, is that the UDA side must be worried. They must be worried because clearly this agitation by Martha Karua and the group is not very favorable to them because for deputy president to successfully contest for presidency, he must get a substantial vote basket from the Mount Kenya. Clearly, with all this, you have heard from Martha Karua's position that they are not going to support monolithic political party, which means they are not going to go the UDA way. They will probably negotiate from their current positions, her being in NA Kenya, Moses Kuria being in Chama cha Kazi. So it's very interesting, and I think the UDA side must be worried with what is happening in especially Mount Kenya West, the coming together of those politicians whom, if you look around them, you clearly see that they are not on Ruto's side. They are pushing an agenda which is not going to be an agenda to benefit one William Ruto. And I think what they are doing is a good thing. You know, several parties coming together and saying they want to jointly negotiate for the region. I think it's something that for us from Western Kenya, we will need to borrow from that because we also have so many political parties, so many presidential candidates, and I think it is a good thing. We should be encouraged, and I hope they will bring Mount Kenya East on board so that they negotiate collectively as one region.
Okay. I'll get to put you to task later on about this elusive Luhya unity, even as I interact with our other panelists who's joining us in our city center studios. So, Manyasi, from where you sit, what's the issue here? Because according to that report we aired earlier, representatives from Mount Kenya East were missing. There are a couple of whispers going around that this might be a ploy to perhaps water down the influence of Deputy President, especially within the Mount Kenya region. Do you read any symbolism in this unity pact?
Jesse, I think, thank you for having me this morning, and good morning to all Kenyans. One thing that you will read from the discussions that are ongoing is, in my view, the fear that the Mount Kenya region, especially from some of the people that we have seen in that picture, they have about the fact that the Deputy President could be running away from making any negotiations with political parties. And if I can start from where the Deputy President stands, he knows how he came into a coalition with Uhuru Kenyatta, and he knows that he actually had 50-50 in terms of sharing of revenue, of power in the Jubilee government between TNA and URP. And of course, by extension, all of us know that he obviously got half of government. And so for him, where he stands, it doesn't work for him to move in coalitions because, of course, he will be happier to have a more powerful presidency in terms of his ability to appoint whom he wants and to run government the way he wants, because he also knows how his second term with President Uhuru Kenyatta has been. So if you look at that and then look at the other side of the coin, the people in Mount Kenya, my assumption is that their fear is looking at then if that ends up as the arrangement, then do they have a bigger stake in the incoming government if the Deputy President, for example, was to become president? So that's one. But number two, I'm saying that because if you look at the selection of Martha Karua, I want to take you to the 2007, 2008, where Kenya, when Kenya was in a bad state. Martha Karua was on the negotiating table, and one of the things that is well known about Martha Karua, her negotiation is always that she either gets everything or none. So to pick someone like that to want to front for purposes of saying that this is the person who will speak for us or negotiate for us or whatever matter, then it's more about the personality and the ability to negotiate without ceding ground. And so when you start saying that we do not want a one-party movement, just like I have explained, and then you are the person that then is a hard negotiator, so then you start reading the fact that Mount Kenya is worried about if William Ruto was to run away with the presidency and there's no other small parties or coalitions or negotiations around how power is going to be shared, then the fear is that they're going to be left out or they're going to get the lists of what they expect. So in the arrangement that I see today, that is what I read face value. In terms of the deeper understanding of why the other part of Mount Kenya was left out, there are rumors that Justin Muturi, for example, is leaning towards the DP and he may not have a lot of interest. However, what we have seen in Mount Kenya, there's always an imagination that Mount Kenya includes Meru, Embu, Tharaka Nithi and all that. But if you look at it deeply, you'll always see that the other side of Mount Kenya will always take a stand and then either whip the other side of Mount Kenya or assume that the other side of Mount Kenya is definitely going to back them. And in terms of history, that has happened a lot apart from, of course, the Kibaki time.
Well noted. So much focus on the voting nature of the Mount Kenya region, Senator Bwaura. But even as you take a look at that in terms of unity in purpose and whether this will truly be achieved, Moses Kuria, the Gatundu South Member of Parliament, earlier on had raised a couple of demands, which the leaders yesterday did not highlight. But he had mentioned earlier that the region would seek 40% share of the government and position of the Deputy President from whoever they would back in the 2022 presidential contest. Is this just raising stakes, or do you think this is actually the way forward for the mountain, claiming what they contribute to the table?
I think that is his proposition, Jesse.
Yeah.
And there seems to be that consensus that the Central Kenya or Mount Kenya region is not going to produce a strong presidential candidate this time round. And so any other position below that is up for grabs or for negotiations. And so therefore the position of the Deputy President is one that, of course, the region and the people may be looking up to, especially because you have about 6 million votes, really, from that region. And that is something you are going to see from every other region. I'm sure Sotsi and Western region would also lay a claim on something if there's any negotiation. I think also Coast and all of the country, people would want to be seen to be part of government. There is a greater vision, though, that we need to look at this country because when one is elected president, they are not elected president just for their region alone. And if you want to ask the people of Central Kenya, they will tell you, yes, they have had the presidency for the last 20 years, if you finish this term. Then, I mean, has it resolved all of the problems? No, it hasn't. So you need to have a situation where you have a national outlook. You have, you know, people rallying across ethnicities, across color, race, creed, you know, religion and regions, so that then you have a greater, you know, impact. Because Kenya does not really compete based on these small little regional issues. It actually is a player within Africa. It is the third largest economy according to the latest, you know, ratings in sub-Saharan Africa. And if you are, for example, going to resolve issues of coffee and tea that affect our people in the region. I mean, I was there, Jesse, last week in the villages, and you could see people have uprooted coffee trees because they are no longer, you know, productive. Now, you need to have a greater advantage, and all politics is local. So there will be those issues. We've tried to actually speak about them, the 4 issues as they have been represented. The issue of the party, of course, is critical, but let's leave it. But then we come to the issue of representation. I think people are highly underrepresented, like where I come from in Ruiru. I mean, 500,000 people having 1 member of parliament is unfair. The issue of resource allocation, and I think here the deputy president has put it very clear, it's a win-win, so that you don't deny other resources by allocating to others. You increase the kitty. You bake you increase the cake, Jesse. And so that way then people will share. Those who deserve more will get more. Those who may not be as many will get their share, but without reducing what they were getting before. And then, of course, the other issue is the issue of you know, security of the person and property. I think, and I want to say this categorically, Deputy President does not stand for retribution. The issue of retributive justice, because even the Bible says vengeance belongs to the Lord. So let's not try to couch that in the legalism. It's exactly meaning that you protect the status quo. And I don't think this is a free enterprise country. People must do business, but also within the bottom-up economic model is to create new men and women, so that they have equal opportunity, having a chance, you know, in life.
Well noted. Osotsi, just hold on to your thoughts, because when we come back, we'll talk about this elusive word that's usually termed with Luhya unity, elusive Luhya unity. Going into 2022, will we be able to achieve the unity that is